Do you want to upgrade Windows 10 to Windows 11 even though your TPM 1.0 is not supported? So in this video, I'll be describing everything. You don't need any utility software or any other software to upgrade from Windows 10 to 11, and I'll also guide you how to upgrade TPM 1.0 to 2.0 without installing anything. In the past, I created this video about upgrading TPM, and there was a link by HP. I don't know, HP removed that link and now you no longer find that link, but I have another new pin comment. You can refer to this pin comment, and that's the method there. I also created this video, free upgrade Windows 10 to Windows 11 on unsupported devices. You can refer to this video as well. The links are in the description. But this is a quite new method. You will be able to upgrade TPM and also install Windows 11, even though if your operating system is not supporting Windows 11 natively. So what you need to do, go to this website and the link is in the description, and download the ISO file. You can download here, and then all you need to have is a USB. Just take a USB, format it, don't keep any other irrelevant information in the USB, and then paste this ISO file in the USB. If you want to use native computer drive, that's also okay. I have downloaded Windows 11 iOS file, and you need to download it and copy it into a USB. I have it on my drive. So if I install now, it will not install. If I go to setup, it will give me an error that your TPM is not supported. It will not move further. If I go to health, at this place, I will not also be able to upgrade to Windows 11 because technically the hardware of this chip is 1.0, not 2.0, and Windows 11 require 2.0. As you can clearly see, this PC doesn't currently meet the minimum system requirement to run Windows 11. Let's fix it. So here we go. You can clearly see that this processor isn't supported for the version of Windows. Alright. Let's close. So here is the important thing. This path will be in the description, and this one will also be in the description, and this is the second method. In the first method, we're going to describe how to upgrade TPM 1.0 to 2.0 and install Windows 11, and this method doesn't need to upgrade TPM itself, but you can simply just use command. So I'm going to copy this one. Then you need to go to this search or simply press the Windows button, and here you type REG and enter to this registry editor, and here you need to press yes, and you will land to this area. Now make sure that you are in the exact folder. Just paste the link, follow the same directory as shown here, computer hot local and whatever it is. Then here you need to do an important thing. Go back to the notes, copy this one, and here you need to go to right click and new, and then dword 32-bit. Now rename this file same as shown here. Don't change anything. Now you need to do one more important thing. Double click on it, and here you will see the value 0. Change it into 1 and hit OK. Now you're good to go. Your TPM is upgraded now. So what you need to do, just copy and paste or cut paste this ISO file into your USB. In my case, it's in F drive, that is not a USB, but you can place it in a USB. And then now if you hit on setup, yes, and it will install Windows 11 without any problem. If I hit next, wow, now it's going to restart. Our computer is ready to install Windows 11. You can accept and continue. But we need to move to the next procedure that is quite simple as well. You don't need to do anything. I just cancel this setup and now need to move to the other setup and this task. So take the USB with your setup, plug it to your computer. Here it is. In your case, it will be any drive, but I have the setup here in E drive. I will be following my drive. You can follow the USB drive. In your case, it could be G, F, A, whatever the name is. Then what you need to do, simply go to this Windows icon again or the search bar, and here you type CMD. Right click on this and run as administrator. Click on yes. First thing you need to do is to locate the drive. For example, my Windows is here, ISO file. It's in F drive. So what I need to do, I need to type F : and enter. Now you need to write down this one, same exact wording, CD space sources, hit enter again. And now you need to type here setup prep.exe space / product space server, and this will be in the description as well. You can just copy there, hit enter, and voila, your Windows installation procedure has been started. Even though the TPM is not supported, go ahead and install Windows 11. I believe this video has provided you some sort of value and you fix your issues related to TPM and Windows 11. Hit that like and subscribe button. Take care and bye bye.